What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dead True Podcast. My name is Jimmy.
I'm Dustin.
We want to welcome everybody tonight. First of all, we're going to kind of thank our sponsors. We got the golf tour, water tower tour, and also we have the camp. This is Oster's Camp. You can go on his website, kind of look over some stuff. They got some pretty cool meet and greets. You're welcome to go on his website and check that out. And also we have the Walking Dead Harrelson, like always. Come book tours with us. I'd like to show you around, show you where Merle died, of course, and the Rittany Governor met at. In the barn. And of course, Dustin's got that mighty hook over there on the corner over there.
Right.
So, Mr. Dustin.
Yes, sir.
Didn't you get an article or something about Andrew Lincoln? We got news.
I did. And, that's kind of something we're going to do. First of all, last week, thank you guys. We had a great episode, great podcast. We appreciate the call in that we had. We want to encourage you guys to do a lot more of that. We really want to interact with you as fans of the show and fans of our show. But what I try to do each week is keep up on Walking Dead news. I mean, call me a nerd if you want to, but that's just something I like to do. They come across some pretty interesting things, and one of those ties into something we didn't get to really get into last week, which was about the show ending. And the article that I read was an interview with Andy Lincoln, who plays Rick Grimes, and he was talking about a fan who approached him. I'm supposing over where he lives, but he said that a fan approached him and was begging him to, please reprise your role as Rick Grimes. And Andy says in the article that it was very heartfelt, and it was just basically. He got a tear in his eye, and Andy told the person who asked him, we're working on that. Something we're working on, and it kind of led me into digging a little more. And with the show being announced that it's ending, like I know we hit on this last week, but with it being announced that it's ending per se, with the spinoff coming, and you've got Andy Lincoln feeling that emotional about it. Now you have Lauren Cohen come out the same week, and she says there's going to be a bittersweet ending. And then you've got Norman with the photograph we talked about last week. So I kind of want to re-hit on what we talked about last week. What's the chances you think that Rick Grimes is coming back in the TV show? What's the chances we're going to see him again down in Georgia? And, you're the one that keeps up with that, so tell me what your thoughts are.
I think he's going to come back, but we need to start putting hashtag bring back Andy Lincoln to Walking Dead or something similar to that. If you can put the Dead True Podcast in there somewhere, we appreciate that. But other than that, I mean, we really need to kind of band behind that as fans to kind of get him back in there. We need that storyline to finish, whether, the story ends with him or begins with him. Whatever happens to those movies, we need to know something at this point. I don't think the movies are going to necessarily happen anytime soon. So with the show ending, I think it's fitting to actually put him in the show again. He's had his time with his family, like you said, Baker. He's had more than enough time. I think I'm pulling my hair out because I spent so much time with my kids at this point. I don't blame him for wanting to leave the house.
A little bit.
Yeah, so all this quarantine time, he's had his time. We need him back. We need to start hashtagging whatever we need to hashtag to let him know we need him back.
I agree with you. I mean, it's kind of sad to think that I had to start an epidemic of COVID to allow him time to be absent so we can bring him back to the show. I can't do another one, buddy. You're just going to have to come back and let us see you. So.
Well, let Baker simmer around like spoilt water in Tennessee. I mean, not Tennessee, but over in Texas a little while. Start up any kind of pandemic.
Yeah, no doubt. But, the article, the thing is, Jimmy, everything that I've heard, from the contacts that I have, working with the cast, from the people that I talk to on a regular basis through social media, these big Walking Dead fans, every resource I've got is how emotional Andy Lincoln is about leaving the show. I mean, I think he even did an article where he said that he regretted leaving the show when he did. It was the wrong time. I mean, you were telling me about that. Am I correct? What I was thinking? Did you hear me?
You kind of froze out there for a minute. What'd you say?
Okay, technical difficulties. I said, basically all the resources that I've got, talking, working with some of the cast and, talking to all the people that I do through social media, basically, Andy felt that it was the wrong time to leave the show. That, and I think you were telling me that there was an article or something where he was talking about where Angela Kane come back, and can you expand on that? Because you told me, and I don't want to mess it up. If you can kind of tell me about it.
Well, I mean, the way I kind of look at it is we just had lost Carl. We needed, we needed something to comfort us at that time. We didn't need necessarily for Andy to leave the show. I know it sounds, relatively kind of nutty that we needed, this dude on the show, but we really did. We needed that comfort and to know that, Rick Grimes was there for the group. And he wasn't. And I think that's where the show lost its way. I think that the fans need closure to this. If you're going to end the show with the main character, because he is the main character, I think that the closure the right way and show us what happened between the timeline. If the movie needs to go back and cover that, so be it. But we need to kind of close this out in the right way. And I've been doing this for almost 10 years. And I feel like if it doesn't, we all got gypped.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. I remember this one summer I binge watched Lost because everybody I knew was talking about the TV show Lost. And nothing against it for you fans that may like The Walking Dead and Lost. But, I think it was, 11, 13 seasons, 20, however long it was. And I got to the very end episode. And all of a sudden, the way that it ended, I was just like, I spent a whole summer watching this. This is, 10, 12, how many ever years of our life, 12 years by the time it's said and done that we're going to have invested in this. And I want to see it, all come together. I want to say, like you said, I want to see closure in it. And, and nothing against the writers of the show, but, the spinoff to kind of lead into that with the ending of this show and the spinoff of another show. I had somebody just today, they asked me what my thoughts were, and I said, well, I've not really had time to think about it. I mean, I love Norman Reedus. I love his character, Daryl. I think that, Carol has, and Melissa McBride is an awesome person. I think the characters have come a long way. But this person proposed a great idea. They said, well, do you not think that maybe it's just gotten so far off the wall and away from the comics and this and that, maybe they just don't know what to do since they killed Carl, and now they're just coming out with let's just stop the bleeding while it's there and go with the spinoff and just see what happens. And I never looked at it that way, I always think in my mind that the writers have some ingenious plan and it's all going to come together, but they proposed a pretty good idea. It could just be something to stop the bleeding. But what, kind of tell me, let's talk about that a little bit, with the lost Carl and, Rick leaving on a boat or a helicopter, and Michonne leaving on a boat. Now you've got a spinoff. I mean, how are you going to tie all that in? What are you going to, is everybody going to meet up at a field party by the river?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're going to tie Michonne and Andy up together. I think it's going to give, the Judith story, her little storyline, maybe that's going to tie some ends where Carol and Daryl can go off on a happy sunset. I really don't know what can be said in the new spinoff. I don't really, if they don't tie Andy to it, it's a lost story. It was all for nothing to me. If they all get together and they connect all those parts, I think it'll be fine. But when the spinoff hits, and let's see, it like when the spinoff hits and everybody comes back and like is a part of the spinoff, like they show Andy at times, that'd be kind of cool. But I think that I don't know how the spinoff with Carol and Daryl's going to go. Are they going to just ride off on his bike? What are they going to go? They're going to go back to Georgia? Are they going to go to New York where it's colder? Mexico? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not taking away from anything of the creative minds of the writers, you know, or Kirkman for everything he's done by giving us this blessed opportunity to be a part of the Walking Dead universe. But I just don't see where it's going to go. I'm not in agreement with it. I do not like it at all. I'm going to support it because the show is still continuing. And I would rather have that than not have anything. But I don't see how you're going to really spin off from it. And that's also not to take away, because it's just like you and I were talking earlier today. It's not to take away from the characters of Carol and Daryl, because if you look, both of them come a long way from when the show started, and they both went through a ton of adversity. They both went through so very much, and to get to where they are. And then I don't know, and I guess for our viewers, some of the things that we know, we should probably go ahead and tell them here. But, and I'll start with Daryl, but, Daryl actually auditioned in the role of Merle. Norman Reedus auditioned for the role of Merle. And, he didn't get it, but they liked him so much that they made a character for him. And he never intended on being on the show. I think it was 4 episodes, maybe, something like that.
He was supposed to be gone, yeah.
So here you are now, all these years later, and boom, you've got a spinoff. But Daryl as a character has went from basically being the backstage redneck per se that lives off the land, that I guess everybody makes fun of the redneck until the zombie apocalypse, as they say. But you got this character who's lost his brother. You don't hear a lot about his family background. You don't have a lot of dialogue about his life at all. And it seems like that everybody he gets close to, there's always a wall up. Okay. Even with Andy, even in their sentimental moments, you've got, where Andy tells him, they talk about being brothers. Even then, there's still a little edge there. And it's almost like that, other than, Judith and Beth for a brief moment, he didn't really get close to anybody.
My question to you is, though, has The Walking Dead got totally rid of going through backstories? Because we never got Negan's. We never got none of it.
I hope not. And I think that's something the show could do. I mean, how many people would tune in for the Rick Grimes, Shane, backstory of being at the sheriff's department? What happened? How did they get there? Why did Rick Grimes decide to become a sheriff's deputy? Why are we watching about Rick Grimes the plumber, or Rick Grimes the whoever? Like Glenn the pizza boy. Why are those backstories not there? I don't know. I hope they haven't got rid of it.
Yeah, I never understood why they never showed Negan's backstory, because he named his bat Lucille because of his wife. I never understood why. We even got Bob's backstory.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Time on Bob than I think probably pretty much anybody, really.
Yeah, that's what I never understood, though. Like, we even got Seth's backstory. Father Gabriel. We got his backstory a little bit. They just didn't show it, but he talked about it. And I want to know, just off the whim, but how long was Shane giving the deed to old Lori over there? That's what I want to know. Was he doing it before Rick got gone, or that was his plan?
Man, I've had this debate with so many people. I've answered it both ways, man. I can't lie to you. It depends on who I'm talking to. Like, if I'm talking to somebody that I think really wants to hear that it was happening before or after, and I've got a conflict with Shane's character, but we'll get into that here in a minute later on with part of the show we're going to talk about the most horrific death. But You know, I think that Shane was, I don't know. I'm going to say that he was doing it after. I'm going to say that he was doing it after just because I would have a hard time, sleeping with my partner, my best friend's, wife, but then showing up in the hospital and caring for him like that, and just being there. So I think that when I look at those scenes and I see the compassion and I see how Shane was acting, I don't think he was doing it before. I think it started sometime in the time they were sitting in Atlanta in the traffic where they met Carol, and I think it started happening right there. One of those magical nights in the tent somewhere.
You know what that reminded me of though? Remember Talladega Nights from Shake and Bake? Remember that the dude was in the hospital. He was sleeping with the dude's wife. Remember?
Yeah.
that jump was just funny.
Yeah.
But no, getting into Shane, man, I wish he was giving the D to everybody, but I wish I would have learned more about Shane. I feel like he died off too fast, man. It was a second season,
and then remember Walmart leaked it on accident. They had like a Black Friday sale before the episode aired. Remember, I called you and I was like, "Man, I think I learned something I didn't learn and I didn't want to know." And did Shane die? Because it was about 2 weeks before the episode aired or the week of the episode.
Yeah, don't forget about the whole Beth fiasco too on the West Coast.
Oh yeah.
After it aired here, they aired in the West Coast and messed everything up, and people were fussing about it, man. I think they spent so much time worried about what the fans would leak, they forgot about the fans sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with that. I can't go into that, or we'll have to have 3 podcasts tonight because that'd be too much to get into. But going back though for a second though with the spinoff, because we kind of hit on Daryl a little bit and Carol. Carol's went through a lot. She's went through an abusive relationship. She's lost how many ever adopted kids that she's got, and we saw all these twists and turns and why, and I'm tying it into what you just said. We don't know Negan's backstory. We don't know a lot about Shane. But you got these 2 characters here that essentially started out of the show that had no backstory that we knew of, very little about them. And Carol and Daryl were both supposed to be on the TV show 4 episodes.
Yeah,
that's it. So,
my question to you also is, because I know you go in depth more than I do. I kind of gives a little.
I'm sorry, guys.
You're good. I mean, to me, I like that. With this other spinoff that took place in Richmond, Virginia, when that airs, what the hell's it got to do with the show? What kind of placement is that going to be? Is it going to lose us like Fear did at first and then catch us back up, or is it going to just be some off the wall thing?
Man, I've got a couple of inside sources. One really close to me I can ask. I don't know that he'll tell me because he's a big fan like I am, even though he's on the show. I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things that they want us to see how the rest of the world is doing. And I would want to think, I was surprised when they said it was only going to go for 2 years. Like, I thought it was going to essentially be, like, when Fear came out, I said, okay, here's where we're going to learn what happened. Fear is going to tell us a timeline of what happened, and all of a sudden now we're in the Walking Dead world. We didn't get that with Fear. We kind of did. But I don't know any more about how the apocalypse started or what really went down. So now I'm thinking, well, this show in Richmond's going to tell us, okay? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is going to be awesome. And so it's only going to be for 2 years. It's only a 2-year show. I guess you could tell whatever you wanted to tell in 2 years, but those characters have to go somewhere in 2 years. Are we just going to not, like Morales that time when he left The Walking Dead with his family, we're just not going to know what happened to them and they're going to pop back up, but then The Walking Dead's ending in 2 years. So how are you going to tie all that together? Which that's kind of weird because I didn't think about that. So the first show's going to end in 2 years, but now The Walking Dead's going to end. I don't know. I never thought about that until I just said it out loud.
Anybody's got any opinions, please give us a call. The number's at the bottom, 440-276-4670. Anybody wants to call? I enjoyed the phone call from last week. That was our very first one. Besides,
he's tired of hearing me ramble, so please call in.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Listen to me talk. But no, we appreciate you guys that listen to us. We really do. Um, but no, man, I think the spinoff's going to be good. Because you've got two talented, actors there, and Melissa McBride and Norman Reedus. I don't know what it's going to have to do with The Walking Dead, other than a continuation of their storyline. I don't know what this other show is going to have. And I know I'm bouncing back and forth, but I'm just really confused. So guys, again, if somebody could call in and give us your input, maybe we'll learn a new path to talk about. Maybe we'll learn something that's good to go down. So.
Also, anybody wants to call in to tell us about their favorite experience meeting anybody off the cast, feel free to call. We love to hear about your convention experiences, the positive and negatives. You can let us know everything, how you feel. My favorite experience, one of them, was I actually got to go to Atlanta Comic-Con a couple years back, and our good friend Melissa Dukes was actually working there, and old Michael Rooker was at the table, and I actually got to hang out with him for about 35 minutes with Melissa Dukes. And Melissa was very, very sweet. She always good to everybody, but Michael loved her a lot, and of course he loves all the women. But we had a pretty good time just hanging out and chilling with him. What about you, Mr. Baker?
That is actually the one person that I have not had the privilege to meet or work with.
Well, so Mike?
Yep. I'm wow. That. I've not had that.
Yeah, Mike's a very awesome guy, man.
Yeah, I think the closest I ever got to meeting or interacting with him actually was, I think it was you and I. We were at filming. Didn't he walk through the parking lot?
Well, that day he was supposed to be at Comic-Con. He was supposed to be at Comic-Con that day. The next day we went up to Atlanta. I think, maybe 3 days later, and we got him up there. I did anyway. I think you had to go back because you had Dallas with you.
Yeah, I was ready to say, how come I wasn't invited to this?
You're always invited, Baker. I always told you, no matter what, you're invited.
I miss a lot of things for always being invited, but go ahead.
You're invited down here today, but you're not here.
I'm shooting for that next week.
So. Next week? Hey, we're gonna have you on in the living room with me doing this together, right?
We're gonna be all cuddled up doing a podcast.
Well, we need to have Oscar next week. We need to talk to him about being on podcast during his event. I think that'd be kind of cool. We can interact with people actually there. We can see what's going on with it. Is that cool?
Yeah, we do. And that's actually, if you don't mind, let me go ahead and give the camp a little bit of a plug, because we just had a major announcement. I want to go to the website here to make sure that I don't mess up anything. We don't want Oscar beating me in any capacity. But, for those of you that don't know, we have a huge event coming up in October. We are going to have several of the Walking Dead cast members there. Of course, we're going to be following all the COVID protocols, but you will have an opportunity to meet some of your favorite actors and actresses. And we just announced that we're going to have a fan meet and greet the Thursday before the convention actually starts, or the event starts. We're going to have a meet and greet, an exclusive opportunity to be inside of Merle's bar. That's the scene where Merle was outside of a bar drinking right before his ultimate demise off the show when the governor killed him. But that location we've actually got rented out. That's where we're going to do our fan meetup and meet and greet. So guys, please take an opportunity to come down in October. It's going to be fantastic, and I'm going to get you your dates and things right here again. But that's one of my favorite filming locations, Jimmy. That's
hey, fun fact, back in the day, I want to say season 2 and 3, Mike used to go in there all the time. Well, it had to be 3 because he was running 3. But anyway, he used to go in there all the time, and he used to play pool in there and do karaoke and everything. There's an old man always that sung Stroking. He used to be in there, kind of entertaining. But yeah, there used to be an old man sing Stroking every Friday night. But Mike actually used to hang out in there during, like, when they're not filming. Yeah, there's a picture in there, I think still of Mike, where he's standing in front of the Georgia state flag, the old one, and he's actually holding a beer and hanging out. Yep.
I didn't know that. That's yeah. That must have been before my Jimmy time, but I wasn't given that information. But yeah, and God, sorry, I just pulled it up. Thursday, October the 22nd. Of course, our event's going to go all weekend. The Thursday at 7 p.m. It's actually now called the Southern Country Steakhouse in Sonoy. We're going to have basically a fall reunion there. We're going to meet up. We're going to have a lot of fun and see. We'd love to see you guys there. But the camp, following that Thursday, guys, we have some of your favorites that are going to be there. I'm actually trying to get to the photos. But if you go on Facebook and you look for the camp, you'll see it populate. We've got great actors and actresses that's going to be there. You're going to get a very, what I want to call despite COVID, you're going to get a very hands-on experience with these folks. They want to take time with you. You're going to make new friends. You're going to gain some extended family members out of this. So I really encourage you to come. October 23rd at the Jacobs Table, one of the best restaurants there in Sonoy. We're having a huge meet and greet. That's the basis of the event, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, Jimmy, you were there last time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very nice setting. We're doing a lot of things there outdoors, and it's going to be nice fall weather, good zombie apocalypse weather. So, guys, please come out, message me or Jimmy if you have any questions, and if you guys are interested in being a vendor or anything like that as well. If you have little Walking Dead things that you do, let us know. We can definitely get you the hook up on it, and just love to see you there, whether you're a fan or whatever.
Oh yeah, and we actually take pictures for free. So if you want to get a picture with us, totally free.
We may have to pay the fans to take pictures with us. So
I don't know. What I do is I get this stick with a little wiener on the end of it. Get the dog to play with Dustin sometimes. Yep. But no. Also, Cindy Sumner of the Water Tower Tours. She. If y'all don't know, Atlanta Movie Tours went out of business. What they did was they actually took all the actual tour guides from that tour, and they actually made their own tour. So we're trying to get their business off and running in the right direction. And they actually, there's all the tour dates and everything, where you got to call. And Cindy Sumner and Stephen Sweet can basically hook you up with a tour, and there's all the information for that. Really good people, really, really good people.
Oh yeah, there's some great people. And I haven't had the chance to take the tour yet, but I understand it's pretty awesome. I'm going to do that as soon as I get a chance to come down. Miss Cindy and Mr. Stephen and Mr. Colin. I don't know Colin that well, but I'm hoping to get to meet him.
Colin's a pretty good guy. I've known him for about 4 years now. Mr. Mark, you're more welcome to take a picture with us if you want one.
Has somebody offered to take a picture with us?
Yeah, Mark Roberts. Yep.
Oh, yep. Well, that's the way. See, Mark is the legend. Listen, it is us taking pictures of Mark Roberts. And, for you guys that don't know who Mark is, man, he has one of the most awesome things right now called the Dead Cards. I mean, he has put together you sound like you're dying on me there, Jimmy.
No, my shoulder popped, man. It's crazy. You see it?
COVID vaccine today? Is that what's patient zero?
I'm going to be turned into a walker. I'm going to go hang out with Jose on the weekends.
Those of you that don't know Mark Roberts, Mark is a phenomenal guy. He has put a lot of time and effort into his company called the Dead Cards, and I'm not just saying this. Hopefully he's still listening to the show. I'm not just saying this because he might be. Some of these cards I've saw compared to like Topps and Cryptozoic, and I'm a huge card collector for the Walking Dead. Jimmy, you know this. But man, I'm going to put his cards right up there with it. I mean, he's got with the Whisperers and actors. He even was nice enough to do one for me for my current position up here as a constable in East Tennessee. And man, I tell you, it's just not only is it a conversation piece for you, but if you're a fan of the show, it's awesome to have. And for the camp, we're going to have a lot of the Saviors there and the Whisperers and all kinds of folks. It's great to go ahead and get those, get them autographed while you're down. But Mark, we love you. Thank you for offering to take a picture with us. But it'd be our sincere privilege to have a picture with you. So we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I was kind of jealous of your constable card, by the way, Mr. Baker. I didn't told you that.
Jimmy,
I was jealous.
Jimmy having a hard time with this. I showed him. Jimmy's the first one I showed. I was like, Jimmy. I said, "Do you ever think the day would come that I would be on a card?" He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like a prison card, like a lineup. I said, "No, Jimmy." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So I had to send him a picture of it, and he was like, "Well, man, that's kind of cool." And I was like, "Well, you don't sound really excited." He's like, "Well, it's freaking awesome, but I'm kind of jealous." I'm like,
I'm JJ, man, for real.
Maybe
I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. You right up there with Chipper Jones now. You got your own card and stuff. Don't know what to do.
I'll autograph one and get it too.
Well, I appreciate that.
If I get him in the mail before next week and I come down, I'll do it in person.
I already got my Baker shirt, so there you go.
Right.
Yep. Now, but aspect of the whole Daryl show, I'm hoping from this Daryl show they actually show the whole progression of Daryl's family. I think that Daryl couldn't talk about a lot of his life because Merle was there. I like Daryl better in season 1 through 3 than I do now. He was funnier, he was a better character, and now I feel he's lost.
You like say that again for me. So you liked Daryl.
I like Daryl better from season 1 through 3 than I do now. I feel like he's a lost character. All he does now is cry and bitch and moan. And I'm sorry to all the beautiful women out there that love him.
But
it does.
This is where I'm going with this, because anybody that knows me and Jimmy, for him to say he liked Daryl.
I did.
Okay. Yeah. This makes me want to tell a story of one of our personal experiences we had, or have you tell a story.
I'm gonna let you tell the story.
Saying you like Daryl is like me hearing, I don't know what I'm hearing, but anybody that knows.
All right, I used to play tricks on girl fans all the time. Is that what you're talking about, Mr. Baker?
Some very close friends of mine and some others, but yeah. And Jimmy, let me tell you guys how much he likes Daryl. But I'm gonna let you handle the part, kind of the ending of it. Okay. So it's no secret, we've told you guys before that you get really close to the people.
Got to pet Daryl in the middle.
You get really close to the people that you meet, because y'all have this. We got this commonality, right?
Put your head on his shoulder.
We.
All right, going back with Daryl.
On the podcast, I just now saw it. I see Daryl's with you. But
there you go.
I don't have anybody with me. I kind of feel jealous now. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
But. And props to our guy Kevin, who just makes this podcast awesome. By the way,
Kevin's awesome.
You got to put Daryl back over by Jimmy for a second, so that they can because this is how much Jimmy loves Daryl. He's saying this 8 years later, but we have some very close friends who I adore. I mean, their family. I would literally sacrifice my life for one of these ladies. And there's a group of us out there after filming, and Jimmy's out there one day. And he says, and of course, everybody's waiting to see Norman, okay, Daryl. That's what everybody was there for. And it was a group, I don't know, 10, 15 people. And then out of that 10 to 15 people, there were the handful that we were closest to that were standing near us. And everybody's talking about, how cute that he looked, and, that they saw him get off the bus for film, blah, blah, blah. And, and they've met the guy 45 times before that. That's not the point, though. The point is that they were there that day in that moment to meet him. And then Jimmy, out of nowhere. Now, I don't know about you guys, you as listeners, but I know my mother taught me there's just certain times and places you don't say certain things, okay? And you ever had that friend that, like, you took somewhere, you went somewhere, and you're just like, gosh, I hope they behave. Well, see, I was Jimmy's guest, and I was behaving. And it was Jimmy who then said, I think Daryl, I don't know why you ladies get so tore up about Daryl for anyway. I don't think he even likes girls anyway. And everybody stopped talking. There was like 6 different conversations going on at once. And Jimmy makes that one comment that Daryl doesn't like girls. And everybody stopped right there. Okay. And we had this one particular young lady who was one of my bestest friends, and I hope she never listens to this because she's going to know I'm talking about her. She may not be my friend anymore. But she was devastated. I mean, it turned into an outright argument. I thought Jimmy was going to get beat up in the street of Sonoy.
Well,
So,
my whole thing is like this, okay? This is my whole thing. He's the only one in this show that's never been with a woman. Norman Reedus is not gay, but I feel like Daryl is. Daryl's never tried to be with a woman. Even when he was with Beth, he didn't mess with her at all, and that's abnormal for a male. I'm sorry, it just is. Everybody's
now listen, I know we're on the pod. Listen, first of all, we love everybody. We don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care. We
Well,
love everybody. You got
there's nothing.
to tell that there to them.
My whole thing is, if he's gay, what does it matter? It's okay if he's gay. I feel like honestly, I feel like he couldn't come out as gay because Merle would have beat the hell out of him.
Well, okay, but listen, focus for me. Put Daryl back up beside of Jimmy so he can focus. Listen,
Daryl, he's right there in my face.
I just say this how you said it in that moment, so our fans will appreciate not being there with us. Okay, Jimmy's sitting there, he's like, you got 15 girls. They're fixing their hair. They're putting makeup on. It's 9:30 at night. Okay, they're putting makeup on, and Jimmy's sitting over in the corner. He's like, I don't see why y'all get that tore up. I don't think he likes girls anyway. Now start from there. Is that because then there's one girl who we're friends with. She says, well, "What do you mean that you don't think he likes girls?"
So I went off on an extra tangent to mess with her. Yes, okay. So I don't remember the whole story, but basically the story went like this. Okay, when Daryl first came up in The Walking Dead, there's old Norman right there. I love old Norman. Now when Daryl came up, he really wouldn't have anything to do with women. He turned Carol down. He rather read Cosmo with Carol. Mm-hmm. He went over there. He hung out with Beth. He turned her down. But when he got to Alexandria and was with Aaron, he's like, "Oh my God, people like me." He ran in the woods because they were all home.
I'm sorry, this thing. So our friend goes, "What do you mean he doesn't like girls?" And Jimmy's like, "Well, I just don't think you like." He's like, "Everybody on The Walking Dead's getting laid, except Daryl."
This is true, yes.
And Jimmy's like, "Well, I mean, look, Carol's been trying to throw at him like a frisbee for however long. He's pretty much locked in the house with Beth, and they're sitting there drinking, and he doesn't even so much as look at it. And then all of a sudden, the people he gets the closest to is when you lock him up inside of Alexandria. Now all of a sudden he's with the two gay guys there. All of a sudden he's running off in the woods with them. That's fine if he did run off in the woods with them. But the point is that in that moment, you said it much funnier then in Georgia, that it tore her up, And you were not, despite you liking Daryl, you did not like Daryl at that moment, at that time, because of our friends and how much everybody wanted to.
I was messing with her. But in all reality,
it would in the middle of the street.
Well, if they beat me up or not, I wouldn't have fought them back anyway.
Like Norman now, is that right? You now like Norman. I could put Jimmy
I've always liked Norman. I just like to mess with them. It's just like when we used to stand there and wait for Norman to come up. If there was a moped coming down the road, I would scream Norman Reedus and the girls would be jumping up and down. And the dude rode by and be funny as hell. I would do it every time.
That is a true story.
Yeah.
This is true. We were standing at the coffee shop. And there was this little guy, I don't remember his name, and he rode around on a moped, right? And Jimmy would wait for the new fans to be huddled up, and everybody would come to town. And where's Norman? Or where's Daryl? Can we see Daryl? And it never failed. It was almost like within 2 minutes of them saying that, or we run into these fans, you'd hear the moped. And Jimmy would be like, "Oh yeah, that's his motorcycle right there." You see this little guy rolling down there on his moped, look like the Dumb and Dumber, And the girls would all run across the street you better run over there so you can catch him. He's going to stop at that stop sign. And
they would get all excited, but my whole thing about the Daryl character, if he was gay or straight, it doesn't matter. He should have been able to show who he cared about regardless. And I think because the women loved him so much, they wouldn't let him come out as what he was.
Well, even the show did that. Even the show was hinting at it. Kirkman hinted at it just to mess with the girl fans because of the fandom, which we all talked about. Be absolutely stupid because if lose that kind of revenue from your girl fans, but whatever. But anyway, yeah. So back on track here. I'm sorry, I got Kevin got us off track. I apologize, but with the spinoff, bottom line is, you've got two characters who did not intend to be on the show longer than 4 episodes, who are now going off on their own, and that shows you not only who they are as character development and the writer props, but who they are as actors. To get to this spinoff, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Like I said, I'm not for it, but that's okay. Hopefully, it will turn into something and tie in. Do I think they're going to tie in, like you said, with Andy a pop in here, or Rick a pop in here? No, I don't, because we're not even doing that on The Walking Dead. Well, we've been promising to have a flashback of whoever, whatever. We've not had any of that yet, so I don't see it happening. I would like to think it would, but it's not.
All right, on this next episode coming up, when is that next episode supposed to air?
The Walking Dead.
The last episode of this season, yeah. Do you remember? I know you don't have it in front of you, and I kind of threw it up, and I'm sorry.
No. I just want to make sure I tell everybody correctly. I'm thinking October the 4th.
Yeah. Dustin always has these big parties at his house with his family and everything. So I was thinking, if y'all wanted to, I could get on Facebook Live on my phone, kind of interact with y'all as the show plays out that night. And then we have an after show on here after it airs. We discuss what happened and everything. So we're actually going to push the show back a little bit to be able to do that. What is that date?
I'm still looking, I promise.
Oh, you're good.
It is.
Dead air.
It is amazing how that is to find, even though I know it. I already know it. It's in the top of my. I know. I'm telling you, it's August 4th. But let me find it to make sure.
Hey guys, once again, if you want to call us, the number's 440-276-4670. You got any questions or anything?
Call in so I can quit running my mouth at you for a few minutes.
Oh, you're fine. You always run your mouth at me no matter what, if we're on here or not. It's fine.
10-4, so that's October, right? October the 4th, of course, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Yeah, I was right. October the 4th. But yeah, Jimmy had a good idea, because what we would like to do is we'd like to take the show and, right now there's going to be an absence of the Talking Dead. And, we see a lot of you guys belong to a lot of great Facebook groups, which are kind enough to let us, publicize for our show on. And, we would like to offer the fans an opportunity to call in and talk and maybe to review some of the episodes. Jimmy wants to go live during the episode. And I think that'd be good. And I might join you. I could take my party into your party.
I'm going to just make sure Mama's cool with that.
Well, we'll work on that. But I think an episode would be good. And, we'd like your thoughts and feedback on that because we want to start reviewing each episode. We want to have a discussion about it. Right now we're kind of just trying to keep everybody up to speed with everything. And we want to go back, something we've talked about. We want to go back and review each individual episode. Start back from the beginning and do a very detailed analysis of each episode. What we've learned from it, things that we saw that, impacted us, how we think that first episode ties into the current episodes that we're watching, how all that correlates together. So that's something Jimmy and I was working on in the background.
And I really like the episodes that kind of shows like the Morgan, when he looked back in the Clear episode, like Michonne, when that happened. That was a pretty cool episode through Clear. And also, if y'all want to, I know Kevin, their producer, and me and Dustin was talking about actually going to some of the locations. So whenever Dustin actually plans a trip down here and we'll get Kevin and all of us together, we can actually do that for y'all. Of course, we can't do it at 9 o'clock at night. You wouldn't be able to see anything out there at Harrelson, but we could do it during the day and kind of put it over there if you want. We could pre-record that.
Definitely want to do that. Kind of like bonus episodes.
And when we go to Granville, we can actually do it in Morgan's apartment because I know Mary would let me go in there, and they have Wi-Fi, so we can actually do it live there, and we can pre-record it in Harrelson, or we can go to the even go to the freaking waterfall over there. Your buddies will over there. So I mean, we could do a lot of stuff.
Bottom line,
Also,
we got a lot of big plans. We're kind of restricted right now because of COVID and everything else going on. We got a lot of stuff we're talking about. We hope you guys are a part of it with us.
oh yeah. So who was the most traumatic death on the show to you?
Most traumatic. You like these? I know where you're asking that from. Jimmy and I like to have these detailed conversations throughout the week because we both read the Walking Dead news and anything that could happen. And we'll have these conversations. Now I'm learning you're starting just to hit me with these questions on the show. So I've got to start making that as a pop quiz. What we were reading here was about Tyler James Williams, who played Noah. He did an interview yesterday, 2 days ago, within 2 days. And it's amazing to see these guys who haven't been on, and gals who haven't been on the show in forever, still talking about The Walking Dead. I mean, this guy's been on who knows what since then, I'm sure a lot, and talking about The Walking Dead. And what he was talking about was that he actually sobbed, cried like a baby when they told him that he was going to not be on the show any longer, and he was having to experience his character's death. That he was very, torn up about it. And it was one of the most emotionally strong things that he's went through as an actor. So Jimmy and I were talking about that, and I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about, the death that kind of impacted us the most, which I actually kind of already talked about earlier tonight. My death was my impact was Shane. Shane was the worst death for me, not only because he was my favorite character, other than Rick. Rick actually grew into my favorite character, but Shane was at first. But Shane was was the worst death for me. I don't know.
My favorite character by far was always the governor. That was my favorite character. And the reason why is, I mean, he lost his daughter. I would have went crazy if I lost one of my kids too. And I think from his aspect of life, I think he was doing the best he could for his people. Was he a bad guy? Of course. But I kind of like that about him. And also, Abraham's death was probably the worst one. I don't even care if, I knew Glenn was going to die. But I liked Abe, man. I always liked Michael Cudlitz. I thought he was an awesome guy. He used to mess with us when we went out stalking. Just all around cool guy. And I think they made his character the comic relief, and I think we need some more of that too.
Yeah. I didn't like his character until he got funny, which was very short into his arrival. But I just didn't initially think that whatever, because Rick already had a right hand in Norman, which actually I think Norman's character took away from that in the comic aspect because Abe was supposed to be the right hand. But yeah, I can see that. But so why did his death impact you? Why did it? What do you think? Other than from the, I know as a fan, his jokes and things made the show. But as far as if you were inside of the show, how do you think turning point for the show? Because I'm going to love to answer this because you're going to absolutely. We'll probably get some hate mail when I'm done. But go ahead.
Well, I liked him. I was the very first Walking Dead fan to meet him, quote unquote, on set. I actually met him the night that Beth got kidnapped before he was ever even on the show. He had another 2 episodes before he's even playing. So I got him, I want to say, the night he got his hair dyed red, okay? Trying to find that picture.
Sleep outside the bushes at the hair salon that he's going to go to.
No, it was actually on set right there. I don't know if you can see it. That's the night when he first come on set. Fun fact, I called him over, Mark Rosenthal, all those people were over there. He come over across the street, took a picture with me, took a picture with everybody. There was this guy next side us eating nachos. We didn't know who this was, okay? He was shooting shit with us, hanging out. Oh, man, it's cool that, they come out and meet y'all like this and everything. We're like, cool, man. It's pretty awesome. You know who that guy was? Josh McDermott. Didn't know who the hell he was. Yes. Josh actually hit us up on Twitter that night and it said, "Ha ha, I fooled y'all. I'm actually part of the set." Kid you not.
Well, okay, so tell me this again. I was listening, but I was checking some of the comments and stuff.
Oh, you're good. So we actually, oh shit, bitch nuts. That's all I want to say is bitch nuts.
If you give me
so now we were sitting across the.
No, you're sitting there. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
So I see Mike walking into the trailer. Keep in mind, I seen Josh doing the same, but I didn't know if Josh was actually on the show at the time. So when I seen Mike, I knew he was because they announced him at Comic-Con. So I started screaming, "Mike, come out and meet us." Mike got out the trailer, walked across the street, and started taking pictures with us. And there's this guy that was standing next beside my ex-wife. He had some nachos, and he was eating these damn nachos. And she goes, "I'm really hungry. Can I get one?" He goes, "You're funny." He goes, "But it is kind of cool. They actually come out and meet y'all like this." And we talked to him, okay? Later on that night, we were thanking Michael Cudlitz for coming out, and Josh McDermott said, "Ha ha, I fooled y'all. I'm actually part of the cast too." And that was the first time I met Josh McDermott.
It's pretty cool. Did you ever see Mike leave with the nachos, or he just kind of disappear a little bit later? Or?
No, he walked back over there. We just thought he was one of the cast and crew guys. We didn't think he was actually anybody on the show at the time. He had a freaking mullet, for crying out loud. Just saying.
Awesome. So he was kind of creeping on you guys, kind of like he was Abe and Rosita in the library at that time. He was creeping on you as a fan.
Well, the thing was, I mean, he was honestly just a normal guy. This is before all this crazy stuff hit, where the fans started threatening him on Twitter. He did delete his Twitter, but he was actually really, really, really cool, man. He come out and he talked to us and everything. And me and my ex-wife actually talked to him for a long time after that, like the whole off season. And when the show begun back up and that he got introduced, he said, "Man, I got over 100,000 people on Twitter anymore. I can't keep up with the messages." Remember, he was talking to our friend at the same time, and he just said there was too many people at that point.
Yeah, he was by far at the beginning well-deserved, one of the most fan-friendly people. Just a great all-around guy. But he did go through some things. I mean, and it's very sad because sometimes, we as fans, we were always what I want to say respectful. But some fans took things too far, and it did ultimately end to where it changed who he was towards the Walking Dead fans. I don't think it changed him because he's still a great guy, but I think it changed because, I mean, you can't get death threats and your family threatened and people posting your address and crazy stuff like that. But that was cool to hear, though, how he stood to say it. That was awesome. I missed that too. I don't know why, but I missed that.
Well, you were in Tennessee at the time. It was just a night they were filming. I remember I left work. I was supposed to get off at 8:00, and I used to get off a little bit early, like 7:30. And I went down to Granville as quick as I could. They were filming that night. The Granville cops, they were really cool with us, man, because at that time we were doing tours in Granville. So I walked up to one of the cops, and they had the signs, it said, pointed the little SF signs. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the cop. I was like, "Can I have one of those?" He goes,
"Tell the listeners what that is, because they don't know unless they've been."
All right. Star Wars Films had these directional signs, so when the cast and crew got off the interstate, it would point them in what direction to go to. Okay, so everybody loves those signs that live around here. So I asked it. I actually have one. And I basically asked that cop that night, I was like, he's actually it was freaking, a cop we both know that play Xbox with us, Baker. And I was like, "Hey man, can I have that sign?" He's like, "I don't care." I was like, "Okay." So I walked over there and I grabbed the sign and put it back in my car. By that time, a guy that worked for cast and crew looked at me and just started shaking his head because he knew I had the sign. So, I mean, we've been through a lot of stuff. As far as the signs and stuff like that go, there was a D sign at first, and then it turned into an SF sign. The D sign stood for The Walking Dead, just deadheads basically. So that's why the D sign is more vintage now, and the SF signs are just normal everyday things.
Do you know the funniest sign? I don't know. Sorry again, Kevin. We're taking the show off topic, but Jimmy's talking about signs, and you'll know what I'm talking about, Jimmy. What was the funniest signage or whatever that when it comes to mind? If I said, Jimmy, what is the funniest thing that has to do with a sign or a title or a name to do with The Walking Dead? You know, you probably know what I'm talking. Anyway, I'll just tell the story. So remember when as it started growing, like after everybody was out there for filming, and then all of a sudden, 100 fans turned into 5,000 fans. Okay, and they were shuttling the cast around. I mean, these people, they got intense. They could tell you when the cast members got off the bus or the vans from the hotel, they could look at their shoes and tell you who they were. They didn't even have to see the actor or actress. They could say, yep, that's who's on this bus. And we're talking, they had limo tent windows. They could look at the shoes and tell you. The funniest thing, remember they used to drive them around in a van and it said Weekend at Bernie's 3. And they nobody getting, listen, I love Weekend at Bernie's, but nobody gave a damn about Weekend at Bernie's 3. Okay? That's how they used to shuttle some of the cast around. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
You're good. You're good. I forgot all about that. I remember The Walking Dead used to take these tractor trailers and move stuff around, and they would put the fake arms and legs of the walkers and leave them outside the transfer truck. The end of the transfer truck, and people used to call the police about there's a hand laying out this truck so and so, and the cops like, yeah, it's just The Walking Dead, let it go. It was just a normal thing with them, but all through the years though, I mean, I don't want to see them go, man. I really don't. I feel like they're a fixture here. And everybody's like, man, how does it like to see Norman? Well, I'm riding down the road one day and I stop at a stop sign and he's right next side me at the red light or the stop sign or whatever. I see him around town all the time. Just because I see him, I don't ask him for anything. He's living here just like I am. But there's been days that I've seen him riding through town. I don't even tell Dustin about it because it's just normal everyday things.
But you do it in a way to antagonize them. If you weren't in Tennessee, you could have been at the red light with me, and Norman was there, and y'all could have talked again.
This is true, though. It's not. It's why I want to get you down here, man. It's just I miss you. You're my brother, and
they have you. You might see a lot more of me than you think. Better count your blessings. You may not. You're gonna have a permanent roommate.
So you a constable. You gotta be there and here.
I can be both places. Don't you worry about that. I got this figured out. I'm bringing the dog with me too. I'll bring this dog. So
dog is awesome. Actually, I'm a little JJ of that dog you got at the Funko Pop. Those little.
Still haven't opened it yet.
Man, that thing is flocked. I'm gonna come over and steal it. You don't open it.
I'm looking at my Walking Dead. I can't open the Walking Dead drop boxes till I'm watching The Walking Dead. And,
my God!
I've got 3 of them sitting there.
Well, I'm actually kind of jealous of that little supply box, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna start stealing just the Funko Pops out every month. You're not gonna open it.
Awesome.
If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Funko actually started through Walking Dead supply boxes. Through all the exclusives, they're actually going to have them through the supply boxes, and they actually came out with a Dirty Daryl Alpha that has without the mask, and the dog that's flocked, which means he's got fur on it, through those supply boxes.
So I was responding to fans and different things. I got sidetracked.
So, Mr. Baker.
Yes, sir. I'm listening, I promise. I'm not distracted.
You're good. You're good. I'm just trying. Anybody want to call in? Like I said before, the number's 440-276-4670. Ask Mr. Baker a question or myself. My name's Jimmy. We were actually talking about Andrew Lincoln before we got on a tangent.
Well, I actually, you were talking about the most iconic death, and I didn't get to tell.
Oh yeah.
You know, I got to tell you that it was Shane. But there's a reason that it was Shane. I needed Shane around. This whole group needed Shane around. Okay. And if you think about it, and I know some of y'all is going to argue with me and probably give some mad faces, but Rick has turned into Shane. Everything that Shane told Rick to do to be like started back at the barn when he was going to let Sophia out. Or didn't know Sophia was there, but he was going to go break into the barn. And he was telling Rick, you know, you can't survive unless you do this. I'm the better man. You've got to be this way. You can't be. That's who, in essence, Rick turned into. Okay. Somebody said, somebody the other day, I was telling them the exact same thing. Do you disagree with that, Jimmy, before I finish my tangent? Do you think that Rick Grimes has turned into Shane?
I do. I think he did. Although when Negan came in, I think Rick became, how would I say, pussified. I think that if he would have been the leader he was on the march to Alexandria, Negan wouldn't stand a chance. I always said Negan had a baseball bat, Rick had a gun. If anybody's got a freaking knife to my son's arm, I'm gonna shoot the man. I was gonna say SOB, but I would have shot him. They would have been a question. I wouldn't even cared if they killed all of us. I would have killed him. Just to prove a point.
I've never understood that, because even the one place where you like to dig for bullets there at the car scene when Negan jumped out and ran in, it's like Andy is a trained law enforcement. Excuse me, Rick is a trained law enforcement. He's shooting all around him. Okay. I don't remember what kind of gun he was shooting, but that's that should have been over a long time ago. But back to my argument. So I told somebody the other day, they were like, well, who's your favorite character and why? I was like, well, I got two. They want to know who my favorite was alive and who my favorite was dead. And I told them that Shane was. And I said, well, why did you like him so much? I said, because he was exactly right in everything he said. You have to have that man. If you ever are in a zombie apocalypse, you got to go find that guy. If you don't have that guy, you're not going to survive. Okay? Well, I don't understand. Well, what do you mean Rick's turned into him? I said, well, think about it. Look at how Rick was soft. He came in, he found his family. And I'm not saying he wasn't a badass, because he was. But you finally got to the point to where even in Alexandria with Pete, when Rick killed Pete, I mean, he was seeing the married man's wife. He had a crush on her. And ultimately didn't care that he killed him. It's the same thing Shane did in season 2. Okay? The same thing. Shane took him after the woods to try to kill him. Rick kind of wanted the guy dead from the beginning, and then got in a fight with him, and now he had a reason to kill him, and he did. And so this whole progression of Rick Grimes, if you watch it, is something that Shane predicted or sculpted or told him. And even when they did the flashback here in Rick's last episode, Shane was talking about that. And to me, that's creative, that's writing genius, because if you're not that person, if Rick had never become that person, this whole group would have never got as far as they have. So that's why Shane's death was impactful to me, because you can't afford to lose somebody like that. And I think it would have been great to have him help raise Judith. I mean, right now in our society, blended families, that's the thing. You know, most kids nowadays have 2 moms and 2 dads. That's just part of it. I think it would have been an awesome opportunity for the writers to expand on that. And I think this group would have not had as much headache. I don't think you would have lost Abraham or Glenn when Negan would have came around if Shane was there. Because you send the asshole to go talk to the asshole. That's what you do. Maybe they work out something. But losing Shane to me kind of was an iconic moment and changed the path of the show a lot. So I know that's what the comics did, but I think we should have kept him around. So
my favorite Rick Grimes, when he on the march to Alexandria, when they got I would say even before that, I would say when they was in Terminus and he had the AK marching through Terminus with it, that was my favorite Rick moment. Just how brutal he was.
Yeah, I mean that's the Rick that I like. I like that Rick. I like the Rick that bit the dude's neck and the jugular. I like that guy. But as far as the soft Rick, everybody likes a hero, but sometimes you got to be a badass. So,
well, the soft Rick, I think, lost all of us. I think that whole season where Rick was bowing down turned everybody off. I think that's where the downfall of the show started.
yeah.
Because you didn't want to see a submissive Rick. You didn't want to see that. Rick was supposed to be the alpha male of the group. You didn't want to see him be the beta. You didn't want to see that. And we saw it. Was it demoralizing? I think it was. And for him to let Carl die like that, that's not Rick. Carl died saving someone, but truthfully, I think Rick wouldn't have let it go down like that.
Well, I don't, I'm still holding out hope that Carl's not dead because I've never saw him. And, Carl's going to ride in and have Zombie Boy here one day with Negan and save Rick when Rick comes back. And then boom, that's how you tie the show back together, and we're all going to ride off in the sunset. So, yeah, that's my
Speaking of Negan, the new rumor is he's not going to be leaving the show. My question to you were there with me that night. They filmed that last episode at the hospital where Beth died. It's right down, not even a fifth of a mile away from my house.
Uh-huh.
Me and Dustin went over there, and Dustin and the girl we know and I were over there watching Negan leave that day. And he wasn't the last one on the set. I remember I kept going up there even after Dustin left, and I would see JDM leave and come back, and I didn't see anybody else. I remember seeing Ryan Hurst one day. But what do you think about Negan maybe leaving the show or not? What do you think?
You kind of have to, and I wish there was an easy answer, but you kind of have to stop and look at these people not only as characters in the show, but the character of who they are in their real life. And knowing JDM to an extent, he's very family oriented. He has his farm. Got a nice place out there on the Outer Banks, and so he's very family oriented. I don't think it makes sense for him to leave the show. I think if he has a reason to or wants to, it's because he wants to spend more time with his family and things. But I personally think it's one of those rumors that somebody started just to go ahead and stir up, more of whatever. Let's go ahead. The Walking Dead fans are already devastated. Let's go ahead and just start something else out here. I don't think that he should. I think that it's BS, and I hope that he sticks around. But unfortunately, he's one of the people that I could see as a person, as an individual, not a character on the show. But I could see him as an individual just walking in when I said, hey, I'm done. It's been great. I love you guys. Thank you for making me a part of it. I got to go take care of my farm. But he has a great show, the Morgan show that he has now. If you guys haven't watched that, it kind of gets you a little bit of insight on his life. But I hope that he doesn't. I can't lose everything, Jimmy. I can't lose Rick. I can't lose Shane.
You know why I bring up that rumor, right?
Why?
To get you stirred up.
Exactly.
Yes, to get you stirred up. Because the thing is, it's good content.
This thing's over, and you're forced to sit there and play video games with me and listen to me whine for the next 3 hours. You're going to quit bringing up stuff on the podcast.
You know what, though? When you come down here, we can go to these sites and relive all this once again.
Well, you're going to. There's going to be that time you're getting on the podcast and you're like, guys, some of y'all please call Dustin and talk to him and just give him some attention because he's wearing me out. Go ahead and keep reaping what you sow there, big boy.
My whole thing is, though, I love how you're so attached to it. I do. That's why I bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't have a comment. I'll have my therapist contact tomorrow for a comment. I'll do a press release.
We love
you. You like that it stirs me up.
I do.
The day when I was sitting at your house, going back to last week's episode, I was sitting there and he was like, Andy's leaving the show. I'm like, no, he's not. And then you were the one. I saw some joy, which you felt for me, but I saw joy in you doing that. So let's sit back and
watch. There was no joy that day. They was concerned what that was. It was no joy. My thing is on here, I want to know because, to be honest with you, Baker, I know a lot of fans, but you're the one that's so heartfelt and attached to it. The only other person I know is heartfelt about this is as you are would probably be. I don't think there is one. To be honest with you, I don't think there is.
I got to throw out the name because she is actually my ambassador of Quan. She calms me down a lot. I got to throw Lisa Dupree out there. Lisa and I have had a lot of heartfelt conversations about our show. But no, hey, you're right. You know, somebody asked me the other day. They were like, they come into my house, my little Walking Dead museum I have here. They were like, "Gosh, how come you haven't ever been on the Talking Dead is like that #1 fan thing?" I'm like, I've never really thought about it. They were like, "Man, you got more stuff than." And they were just, I was like, "Oh, you don't even know the stuff I have in storage. You have no idea." But I might apply for that this year. Maybe we should make a movement. Let's get me and Jimmy. We'll have dual fans. Me and Jimmy, Talking Dead, Walking Dead fans, and we'll do a podcast from the Talking Dead show. How cool is that?
That would be kind of cool. That's the one thing we hadn't done yet. To be honest with you, neither one of us been out there. I don't know if I want to be out there right now with all the fires, though. That's the only thing.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna start wrapping the show up for the night. We love you guys, and we cherish y'all here interacting with us. And Mr. Baker, you got any closing words?
I just want to thank you guys for being patient with us. Like I said, we're a new podcast. We're working on. It's hard sometimes to do a podcast when there's not a show that's currently going on, but we wanted to start it here in this downtime and get kind of everybody geared up for when the show started back. So thank you for the patience. I know I repeat myself a lot. I'm sorry for that, but we love you guys. Even if it's just one viewer that we have, which we have a lot more than that actually, but just it was just one of you guys. We appreciate you taking time to listen to us. We hope it continues to grow, and we're looking forward to next week with you.
And maybe we'll have Oscar on here. We'll get in touch with him, and we want to talk about the camp and get into what the camp's all about. And I know Oscar's got a lot of fun things going on that week. We hope that we get everything going and the COVID will stay away. We're going to kind of sanitize and make sure we practice social distancing and make everything go just as smooth as possible. Maybe we can get somebody on here with us and talk about that and get us going at the actual camp. But we love you guys.
I'm going to work on that right now.
All right. Until next time, have a good day. See you next week.
Yeah. Love you guys. I'm changing my internet provider. I was lagging all over the place.
Me too, dude. I was. Don't worry about it. It takes a lot.
I lost myself 7 times.
I started freaking